The steam engine was the huge part of the first industrial revolution as it changed the nature of work in factories and used trains to get people to those factories. We are inside the Pietermaritzburg train station. Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi. We hope you still are sanitizing or washing your hands, wear that face mask, or stay at home if you don't have to be outside. We need to curb the spread of COVID-19. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you always read the information you share on social media. This as Facebook has said that they are testing out the prompt button. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Firstly, here's what's coming up tonight. We look at technology initiatives and brands that often use celebrities to publicize what they do. We ask if this really works. We look at electric vehicles as a number of countries worldwide say they want to have these as the majority of cars on their roads by the end of this decade. And in our discussion, we chat about cryptocurrency. Now, this is Mahatma Gandhi. He was thrown off the train here in Pietermaritzburg. All right, so now a lot of tech companies, such as mobile phone brands, love using celebrities to promote what they do. But does this actually work? Here's producer Sandile Hlangane.
Now, our biggest stars are trying their hand at launching their own tech companies. Some are collaborating with these telecom companies.
Would you develop an interest in a piece of tech or in technology if it was endorsed by a celebrity?
Anything that celebrities or any initiatives that they take, we want to get in there because we aspire to be like them. So they have a lot of influence in that sense.
They're the first people, that can influence the young people, can get information out there. So I think it would be a great initiative, just to inform people as well about such opportunities.
We are now used to celebrities advertising various products to us. And it might seem to make sense to choose someone who is well known and influential to drive mass consumer appeal. Not surprising then that there is quite a number of collaborations between tech companies and celebrities. Tech analysts say such collaborations benefit all involved.
Serena Williams, for example, she didn't go and start her own venture funding firm, right? She went to Silicon Valley to see who's there. All she knew is that I have this pot of money and I would like to grow this pot of money in this specific way. So partnering, yes, totally, absolutely works well.
And while some of these collaborations may only involve a celebrity lending his or her famous name to a tech company's marketing campaign, other partnerships go a little deeper than a simple spokesperson role. From straightforward endorsement deals to providing funds for startup companies. Think Black Coffee's new collaboration with a coding initiative.
Their mission being to close the global tech skills gap. It's a no-brainer for me to get involved in what they're doing because they're talking the same language, where they're trying to assist the economy of the country by not concentrating on traditional education, and enabling tech skills on the continent.
Those in the industry say these collaborations between tech company and celebrities provide a human face to a brand which could help people relate better with the brand.
There's an aspirational aspect of it where people who look up to the person will say anything to bring me close to my favorite person, so you go for it.
In 2017, media personality Bonang Mateba partnered with Cell C to develop her own smartphone application, Bonang by Cell C. The app was meant to curate exclusive content to its subscribers and to hold discussions with fans a time long before the pandemic had driven teleconferencing into the norm. We spoke to the media personality as she launched her app all those years ago.
What this app is going to do that nobody else does is kind of remind people that there are 50 million African girls who go every year without school, and we need to put them through school.
But we didn't hear much about it thereafter. Then local rapper AKA launched his own app as well. It was called BeamWorld app, and he had partnered with Vodacom. At the time, he also told us what his dreams with the app were.
It's an AKA BeamWorld app. It's my music, it's my life, it's behind the scenes of my entire brand. You can stream music on it, watch concerts on it, follow me behind the scenes.
AKA BeamWorld was also not a success. Let's go back even further, this time to 2014. Samsung tried to win market share away from Apple when they partnered with American professional basketball player LeBron James. Sadly for them, when LeBron's Samsung phone had a meltdown, he decided to tweet about it to his 12 million followers. In 2013, American singer Alicia Keys was given the title of creative director by BlackBerry. Her iPhone snitched on her when she tweeted from an iPhone and not a BlackBerry. That relationship lasted less than a year. Some say these relationships often don't last for a number of reasons.
The positioning of your messaging, because sometimes brands want to dictate how people should come across. So now all of a sudden, you see somebody who's usually very carefree, very free, or somebody who usually tweets in isiZulu or Setswana. All of a sudden now they're tweeting in English.
Furthermore, if the brand ambassador gets embroiled in a controversy of any sort, it could prove to be highly detrimental for the brand.
If you're choosing a celebrity, you want to be able to know, has this person been implicated? In what capacity? What does it mean for us when we do this collaboration, right? I think we saw that with Showmax and the Mambija and Babes series.
But some say these collaborations can help educate many about tech in an effort to bridge the digital divide.
Collaboration is very important in any industry because more hands make better work. And again, I think it's very important for us not to work in silos, especially if we are looking to make a change. So hence why you get big companies using celebrities as their mouthpieces.
But there is caution that choosing the most popular celebrity may not be the right strategy if the brand values do not match.
If you don't want to have a celebrity endorsing a product that even their followers would never believe that they use it.
I think we are going to see a lot more of tech celebrity Mongols coming on the scene. That's because they do have money to invest.
When cars first arrived, I imagined that there was a lot of excitement that Henry Ford had brought something that did not need a horse and a carriage and technology that can actually move a little bit faster. They've evolved a lot since then. There are now electric cars too. But there's an in-betweener, and that's a hybrid vehicle. Adewale is going to show us how his hybrid vehicle actually works.
Let me show you how it works.
Adewale Adejumo says he's conscious about what he does to the environment. That's why he wanted a car that isn't so bad on carbon emissions. He says he'd one day like a fully electric vehicle, but South Africa still has electricity power cuts, not enough charging stations, and a fully electric car is not the most affordable. Electric vehicles have no engines that require petrol, gasoline or diesel, which pollutes the atmosphere. They only have a battery that charges. Adewale's hybrid car switches between petrol and electric.
The batteries for electric vehicles currently are expensive, okay? So my car is done about 171,000 Ks. About 50,000 Ks ago, the battery actually packed up. And to replace the battery would have cost me about 50 to 70,000 rands.
In Europe, there is a big drive for most vehicles on the continent's roads to be electric. Germany wants them to be at 70% by the end of this decade. The Bloomberg NEF report says electric vehicles will be cheaper than the ones that use fuel from 2027. It says this could mean 100% private electric cars, including SUVs, on Europe's roads by 2035. But there are still major challenges here in Africa.
There are very, very few charging points or stations at the moment in South Africa. So once we get past the load shedding saga that is going on, and that's going to last another good few years. Once we get past that, then we can say safely that we are ready for electric vehicles in South Africa. Is it a viable proposition at the moment? No, unfortunately.
A South African businessman, Mandla Lamba, says he wants to answer some of Africa's problems with his series of electric motorbikes he is calling Agility.
We've got our own design that is coming. We'll probably drop it in December. That one is even built to survive in very, very messed up roads. So these ones can go to some areas, but there are areas for sure that they will not be able to because of the roads. The infrastructure is very bad.
This one runs on a battery, and a lithium battery that has a life of up to 12 years when run properly. So there's no oil changing and the likes, and therefore no regular servicing and maintenance required like you do with an ordinary bike.
The push to go electric isn't just with vehicles that are for private use only. Folks at Uber have said they want all their e-hailing taxis to be electric by 2040, something that could be near impossible if we include Africa.
Let's go to East Africa now. That's Ethiopia to be exact, where the country's state-owned mobile phone network provider, Ethio, has launched the very first mobile money service in the country. So now locals can be able to transact, send money and receive money with the use of their mobile phones in the way that others around the African continent have been able to for a while.
Earlier this week, the Ethiopian government, in partnership with Ethio Telecom, launched the country's first mobile money service with the aim to boost economic growth by offering cashless transactions.
እንደ ሀገር በዚህ ረገድ አቅም ካልፈጠርንና ሁሉም ነገር ክፍት ካደረግን ለውድድር የሚመች ልምድ ስላልነበረን ተጠቃሚ ስለማያደርግ ታስቦ አሁን ሁለት ላይሰንስ ለቴሌኮም ሲሰጥ የሞባይል ባንኪንግ አልተካተተም። ይህ ባለመሆኑ የኢትዮጵያ መንግስት በትንሹ $500 ሚሊዮን አጥቷል። የኢትዮጵያ ቴሌኮም $5 ሚሊዮን ያጣነውን የሚያካክስ ስራ መስራት ይጠበቅበታል ማለት ነው።
Not only will this service allow users to make transactions, deposit money and withdraw cash as appointed agents, users will be able to pay bills to various merchants and receive cash sent from abroad.
በመጀመሪያው ዓመት 21 ሚሊዮን ደንበኞች ሬጂስተር ያደርጋሉ ብለን እናስባለን በሰራነው ፕላን ወይም ስትራቴጂ ማለት ነው። ከዚህ ውስጥ 12.7 ሚሊዮን ደንበኞቻችን አክቲቭ ደንበኞች ይሆናሉ ብለን አስበናል።
The Ethiopian small business owners are pleased with this new innovation as it will provide formal financial services to those who do not have access to bank accounts. It will also enhance security.
አሁን ታስታውሱ እንደሆነ ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ የብር ህትመቱን ሲያውጁ በፓርላማ ቢሊየንስ ኦፍ ብር ይመስለኛል ኢንቨስት የተደረገው ለማሳተም ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ያንንም ነው እየተከላከልን የምንመጣው። የተበላሸው የተቀደደው እንደሚቃጠል ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ እንደዚህ አዲስ ነው የሚታተመው፣ ገንዘብ ወጥቶበት ነው የሚታተመው፣ ሀገር ውስጥ አለ የሚታተመው። ስለዚህ ይሄ ሁሉ ጥቅም ይኖራል ማለት ነው። እንደገና ላይፍን ኢዚ ያደርግልሃል። አሁን ብዙ የዴሊቨሪ ሰርቪሶች አሉ፣ የትራንስፖርት ሰርቪሶች መጥተዋል። እንደዚህ
በጣም አሪፍ ነው። ደስ ብሎኛል። ቀለል ያለ ነገር ነው። አሁን የቴም ፍለጋ ኔትወርክ ተቋረጠ ምናምን የሚባሉትን ነገሮች በጣም ከቨር ስለሚያደርግ ቆንጆ ሲስተም ነው። ጥሩ ነው። በጣም ተደራሽነቱን ተስፋ እናደርጋለን አሪፍ ይሆናል።
የገንዘብ ልውውጥን እጅ በእጅ የምንቀባበለውን ነገር ይቀንሳል። ያም ደግሞ ሁለተኛም ደግሞ ማነው ሪስክ የሆኑ ነገሮች አሉ በእጃችን ላይ ይዘን ስንሰራ ምንድነው ህገወጥ የሆኑ ገንዘቦች ሊመጡ ይችላሉ። ያንን እኛ ልናውቃቸው አንችልም። አንድ እሱን ይቀንስልናል። ሁለተኛ ደግሞ ጥሬ ገንዘብ ይዘን ወደ ባንክም ወደ ምንም በምንሄድበት ሰዓት ሪስክ ይኖረዋል። ያንን ነገር ሪስኩን በጣም ይቀንሰዋል።
While the Industrial Revolution in other parts of the world, especially in Britain, took people to trains and then to factories where they started using machines in order to do their work and urbanization was created, there are reminders that when trains came to South Africa, people were still heavily racially segregated. Here at the Pietermaritzburg train station, there are signs like this one, which actually do show that people were classified based on their race. With that, let's take a short break. And after the break, we will chat about cryptocurrencies. All right, today is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Now, when the pandemic hit, a lot of people started to find out about very new things, and cryptocurrency was one of them. In 2021, when the year started, we saw Bitcoin having a really good rally as a lot of people started investing in the cryptocurrency. But the last couple of days saw things changing a little bit, and this was after Tesla founder, South African billionaire Elon Musk tweeted to say that his company Tesla will no longer be accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment. Now, a lot of people are angry about this, and they say that he has led to Bitcoin losing a lot of value in the last couple of days. But to understand things a little bit better, we have invited Ran Nona. He is founder and CEO of On-Chain Capital, and he is going to help us unpack this a little bit. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us, Ran. Maybe if you can start by helping us understand what was going on at the beginning of 2021 when Bitcoin was doing really, really well.
Bitcoin is a digital currency, which is not owned or controlled by any central government. It's a currency that is decentralized, which again means that it's not controlled or manipulated or manipulatable by any central government. And if you look at the environment that we're in today, you've had this pandemic, and as a result of the pandemic, most governments around the world, led by the USA, have printed a lot of new money, which they call stimulus. And effectively, that's the only tool that they had to stimulate the economy while the economy was actually at a shutdown. So they printed a whole lot more money. Now, when you print a whole lot more money, what effectively happens is you devalue the money in existence. So if you can think of a scenario where there's only $10 in the whole world and only one phone, this phone costs $10. But if you print $100 and there's still only one phone, this phone now costs $100. That's effectively inflation. And so what the governments have done is they've printed more money and devalued the existing money. With Bitcoin, however, you can't print more money. There's a fixed rate mathematically of how many more Bitcoin are minted. And so people have now said, look, if governments are going to print more money, to protect myself, I have to go into a scarce asset. Typically, that scarce asset has been gold. But now we have a new type of digital currency, which is way, way, way better than gold. And people are starting to flock to this new digital currency called Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin has skyrocketed in the last couple of months and probably will continue to skyrocket for the next couple of years.
The cryptocurrency started losing a lot of value. A lot of people are blaming Elon Musk for that, who is the founder of Tesla. Is that true? What's been going on in the last couple of days?
It's down 10% since Elon's tweet. It was trading at $55,000 before Elon's tweet, and it fluctuated 10%. But you can't look at every little tweet and every little day. Zoom out. A year ago, Bitcoin was trading at $3,500. Today, Bitcoin is trading at $50,000. That means that Bitcoin's gone up 14 or 15 times in the last 12 months. Any asset that has gone up 14 or 15 times in the last 12 months is going to have corrections. And that's exactly what we're seeing today.
You talk about it as a store of value, and yet it's a currency at the same time. But people are asking, if it's a currency, why can't I go into a supermarket and buy goods?
If you were putting money into gold to protect yourself from increasing inflation, which is actually what you're doing here, the idea is not to use that gold to trade in a supermarket, right? The idea is to protect your wealth from government-created hyperinflation. And so people look at it the wrong way. You never ever want to take your gold bar and buy a cup of coffee at a supermarket. However, if you do want to do that, then Bitcoin is not the right currency, because Bitcoin is made as a store of value. There are a whole lot of other cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Luna, which are much faster. They can do many, many, many more transactions. And they are starting to be accepted at millions and millions and millions of merchants around the world.
Now, Ron, for someone who wants to start out, we've been hearing about Ethereum, which has been doing really well in the last couple of days. That's another cryptocurrency. But where do I start if I want to start? And where do I go? Do I go Bitcoin? Do I go Ethereum? Do I go with other cryptocurrencies?
Comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin is like comparing the internet to gold. You can't compare the two. Like, have you ever compared the internet to gold? You can't compare the two. Ethereum does something and Bitcoin does something. And the two are like very different. Bitcoin is a store of value. It's a hedge against governments printing too much money. And effectively, if you analyze Bitcoin, it is digital gold. Ethereum is something completely different. Ethereum is a decentralized world supercomputer. It is leveraging off the computing power of many, many, many computers around the world to create a supercomputer, which will allow you to do smart contracts, computation, AI, and a whole lot of other things. So you asked me which one you should be investing in? Probably both, because you want to protect your money against government-spurred hyperinflation through money printing, but you also want to buy into the next version of the internet or the next world supercomputer, which seems to be Ethereum.
All right, Ron Nona, the CEO of On-Chain Capital, thank you very much for being a part of our network this evening. And with that, let's take a quick break. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back. We still are at the Pietermaritzburg train station, as we do know that the steam engine was a huge part of the first industrial revolution. But here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology space.
Starting in Washington, D.C., United States. Earlier this week, the United States top cybersecurity officials warned the Senate committee of the aggressive ransomware attacks on the U.S.
Cyber attacks on our nation's infrastructure are growing more sophisticated, frequent, and aggressive. Malicious cyber actors today are dedicating time and resources towards researching, stealing, and exploiting vulnerabilities, using more complex attacks to avoid detection, and developing new techniques to target information and communications technology supply chains. We must rethink our approach to cybersecurity. Releasing alerts, deploying incident response teams, sharing best practices are important tools. But as the pace and scale of cyber threats that we face expands, so must our response toolkit. We need sustained investment to modernize and protect our most critical federal systems, as well as state and local governments, suffering under budget constraints and increasingly aggressive ransomware operators.
Now let's go to Singapore. Scientists at Nanyang Technological University have found a way to control and talk to planes using smartphones. The app they created is able to send signals to tiny electrodes attached on the planes.
We start from this plant and use our device to study how the electric signals can control or reflect the status of the Venus flytrap. Plants are like humans. They generate electric signals like the ECG from our hearts. So these signals tell us how healthy the plants are.
Of late, there's been a lot of worry that too many people share information that they haven't verified or that they haven't read properly on social media. So Facebook has been saying that they've been testing a prompt button to ensure that people actually read what they share. So we're asking you in our Twitter poll this week whether you read before you share stuff on social media. Now, 56% of you say yes, you do. There's 19% of you who say no, you do not. And 25% of you say sometimes you do. All right, and that's it. And thank you very much for being a part of our network. Remember, it is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za. On email for me, Espumelele Zondi, and the rest of the team right here at the Pietermaritzburg train station. Thank you very much for being a part of our network. Wear that face mask, sanitize. Have a good one.